Straight ahead on 12 News, an orange shift, something increasingly different about today's hunter. Then, teaching English and teaching history, the first of its kind Robbinsdale program that's also teaching something else. But first, a Maple Grove family reacts. Months after their son died of a heroin overdose, the person who supplied it learns her punishment. 12 News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Johnson.
And I'm Alexandra Renslow. This past summer, Hennepin County authorities warned the Twin Cities Metro was on a record-setting pace for heroin overdose deaths.
And today, we put a face to the crisis. 19-year-old Andrew Scheig of Maple Grove died on March 5th. 19-year-old Caitlin Drayling of Maple Grove sold him the lethal dose of heroin. She was sentenced this week to 10 years probation and 2,000 hours of community service. The judge also wants her to spend March 5th in jail every year for the next 10 years. As Delane Cleveland reports, Andrew's parents say the sentencing isn't the final chapter of this story.
Because he was a good kid. He had a good heart. He was compassionate, he was kind, he was funny.
Photos of Andrew Scheig are scattered throughout the home of his parents, William and Becky.
It just isn't supposed to happen this way.
8 months have passed since Andrew died from a heroin overdose at the age of 19.
I don't know if you can ever get closure when you lose a child.
Yet time hasn't healed the emotional wounds.
I don't think that I feel any different today than I did 2 days ago.
This week, a Hennepin County judge sentenced the woman responsible for supplying Andrew with heroin.
At the end of the sentencing, she turned around and tearfully apologized to us, and I don't believe it was her intention for Andrew to die.
Yet while heroin was the lethal drug that cost Andrew his life,
he struggled with some mental health problems.
Becky, in an interview she gave with us 2 weeks earlier, said the root cause of the problem came from Andrew's addiction to prescription drugs.
The addiction leads to, wanting more and more. And unfortunately, in our case, our son wasn't able to get what he was looking for that night, and he bought heroin.
Now she's using her personal situation to educate parents about the dangers of having prescription medication around the house.
Andrew got them from other kids, and they're going to their friend's house when they use the bathroom. They're going to Grandma and Grandpa's house. They're buying them from other kids who have gotten them from who knows where.
Getting that message out is their attempt to find something positive out of an otherwise devastating experience.
So that's kind of our mission now, I think, in a way to honor our son.
Well, court proceedings are also taking place for a second defendant accused of supplying Andrew with heroin. Meantime, Andrew's parents helped produce a video for a coalition called Partnership for Change, where they talk more about Andrew's story and the dangers of prescription drugs. We have a link to that video on our website at 12.tv. Mike?
All right, Delane, thank you. Graffiti in a Robbinsdale park has created an eyesore on a historic structure. Someone tagged the Beehive Fire Pit in Grazier Park. Limestone fire pit has been there since the 1930s when the rest stop area was created near the Highway 100 Beltway. The police aren't sure when the graffiti first appeared, but the red lettering wraps around the structure, and it's a big disappointment to city officials.
Unfortunately, the tagging folk don't have much reverence for things, no matter whether it's private property, whether it's historic property. They just feel it's important to leave their name and their message wherever, and that's a very disappointing aspect of society.
Cleaning up the graffiti will require some extra care so the limestone isn't destroyed. The park is maintained by MnDOT.
Mounted horse patrols have roamed Three Rivers Park since the 1970s, but they could soon be a thing of the past. In a budget trimming move that would save $80,000, the Park District gave the initial nod to eliminate the horse patrols. In recent years, Park Police have downsized with fewer officers and more targeted policing strategies. The Public Safety Director says while horse patrols are popular for community relations, they're no longer efficient use of staff.
When you have somebody who's on a horse patrolling a remote part of a park, it's very cool to see them if you happen to be in that remote part of the park. But if there's an emergency call elsewhere, somebody falls off, a horse, car accident, drowning, etc., you're on a horse, not in a vehicle that you can rapidly respond. And we just don't have the luxury of so many staff that we can cover all these different areas.
If the Park District gives its final approval next month, the 4 horses would be sold to other policing agencies. A volunteer-mounted unit will still be a part of the park system. Orange-clad hunters will be taking to the fields this weekend for the gun deer opener.
And this year, more women will be looking to snag that prized trophy buck.
There's quite a few big bucks out there that we caught on camera, and we are pretty excited.
This is Ashley Leitner's first time deer hunting with a rifle. Today, she's stocked up on supplies at the Fleet Farm in Brooklyn Park, and she won't be the only woman trying to bag a buck. According to the Minnesota DNR, there are about 63,000 female hunters. That's up from a decade ago when there were 50,000 women hunters. Leitner says she's glad to be part of the trend.
It gets people more into it. Oh, women are going, well, I thought that was just a guy thing.
Well, it's not, and Fleet Farm officials say many women came through their doors early this morning to get deals on hunting gear.
Food companies like Golden Valley-based General Mills may have to make adjustments to their products or phase them out completely. This week, the FDA proposed a ban on trans fats in food ingredients. General Mills released a statement saying more than 90% of its retail products don't use trans fats. However, the company still uses trans fats in dozens of items, including cake mixes and frostings. The FDA is pushing for a ban of partially hydrogenated oils, citing the risk of heart disease. Still ahead, a language and history lesson that spans generations in Robbinsdale.
And then later in sports, it's a back-and-forth battle for Maple Grove and Roseville in the state football playoffs.
But first, get out the winter coats, the heavy ones. A December-like cold front blows in next week.
With temperatures getting colder, it's a perfect time to experience how people live when they don't have shelter. And hundreds of people are expected to do just that as the interfaith outreach Sleep Out gets underway again for the 18th year. It all starts Saturday at Interfaith's headquarters in Plymouth with a prayer walk outside and service activities inside like packing meals. The goal is to raise more than $2 million. Interfaith Outreach says that should help nearly 1,800 West Metro families meet basic needs for the next year. The adult academic program at Robbinsdale schools is doing something it has never done before.
It's teaching English to immigrant students by sending them to retirement communities. Reporter Shannon Slatton explains how that's only one part of the program.
Well, I like to talk, so I have no problem with talking with them, but I'm really interested in hearing what they have to say.
It's hard to say who benefits more from a new program that pairs seniors with students learning English.
Majority of us make practice English only at school. It's so important to practice with somebody else.
There were the draft protests in Vietnam. That bothered me.
Educators brainstormed a new way to teach English and civics by getting students out of the classroom.
We're really designing it as we go.
The Robbinsdale district won a grant to bring students to places like Covenant Village.
We're teaching them in the classroom about American history, and right now they're interviewing their residents here about their lives.
When you fell in love and what you remember about Great War II or maybe Great Depression.
Oh my, he's married.
Students also learn so-called soft skills like how to listen and understand.
You have to hear what they say so you can practice your listening English. And we have to write a note. There's no doubt we have to practice our written English. So that is a very useful way to improve our English.
They're only here for an hour and it's way too short.
Students will eventually write up the stories in a biography. However, the relationships created,
the connections that are being made here are touching.
Could last much longer than the 24-week program.
It's not only we share this story, at the same time we have to share our immigrant story with them. So we build up a special friendship, so just like a close friend and family.
In Golden Valley, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
And there are also students that go to Heather's Manor in Crystal to interact with seniors there. And Shannon tells us they do a little something different each week, sometimes even bring their own kids, so it's intergenerational.
Neat idea, yeah.
Coming up, arts in Robbinsdale that is extremely Minnesota.
But first in sports, we're down to the Final Four in state volleyball. John Jacobson has highlights of Osseo's semifinal match when we come back.
When you reach the Final Four of the state volleyball tournament, there is not a lot of room for error. The Osseo volleyball team took the court this morning in St. Paul for the Class 3A semifinals, facing Delano. The Tigers in black. The Orioles set the ball too close to the net, and big middle Alex Whittinger taps it over for a point. Delano up 14-4. Later in the first set, the back set from Kristen Kreklow to Shelby Stewart for the kill. Delano wins the first set easily, 25-9. The Orioles regroup and play much better in the second set. Christina Bowe with the block for a point. Then Megan Pekarik sets up Jackie Jones for the big swing. That kill helps the Orioles win 25-21 and even the match at 1. Third set, and Delano goes back ahead. Bria Barfnecht with the kill. The Tigers win 25-15 and lead 2-1. Osseo looking to extend this match. Hannah Pekarik with the kill, but Delano is too good this day. Sure ends the match with a kill as Delano wins 25-21 to advance to the state 3A final. The Tigers take the match 3-1.
You know what, Delano was better than us today. You know, we missed a few serves, just didn't come out quite as aggressive. They did bounce back later in the match as the match went on, but you know, Delano was a better team today.
The Orioles play Eden Prairie at 3 o'clock Saturday in the third place match. Osseo's football team plays in the Class 6A state quarterfinals against Totino Grace tonight, Friday at 8 o'clock. The Orioles district rival Maple Grove played a quarterfinal thriller Thursday night. Maple Grove faces Roseville at TCF Bank Stadium. And it's a great start for the Crimson. Raiders QB Jacques Pera scrambles. He's sandwiched by Emmanuel Erich and Sam Franta. The ball pops free. Peter Olson scoops it up and takes it 28 yards for a touchdown. It's 7-0 Maple Grove just over 2 minutes into the game. But Roseville comes right back a minute later with a perfect strike from Pera to his favorite target, Jesper Horsted. The start of a huge night for Horsted. It's a 31-yard play and 7-7 after a quarter. Early in the second quarter, Roseville finishes the drive with a short TD run by Matthew Peckham. It's 14-7 Raiders. Maple Grove runs it well all night. Clark Winicky goes in to tie the game at 14-all with 1:37 left in the first half. A great 2-minute drive ends in a fade pass to Horsted. He catches an astonishing 19 passes for 293 yards, 21-14 Roseville at halftime. Midway through the third quarter, Winicky scores to tie it at 21-all. He later leaves the game with a shoulder injury. It comes down to the kicking game late. Tyler Knutson, 35-yard try, wide left for Maple Grove, but Jose Salinas gets a late chance for Roseville. He knocks it through in the last 20 seconds, a game-winning 26-yard field goal as Roseville hands Maple Grove its first and only loss of the season, 24-21. Wayzata's football team is out of the playoffs. One of the school's top players from the past few years, though, helped his college team to a huge win Thursday. Stanford University senior linebacker number 17, A.J. Tarpley, played a big role in the Cardinals' upset of second-ranked Oregon. Tarpley finished the game with 4 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, a sack, plus 1 pass breakup in Stanford's 26-20 win over the Ducks and their high-powered offense. Tarpley's Stanford team came into the game ranked 6th in the country, but seemed likely to move up with the win over Oregon. A.J. is a 2010 graduate of Wayzata High School. Stanford's next game, November 16th at Southern Cal. The puck drops Saturday for the Champlin Park girls hockey team. The Rebels open the season against Hopkins. Though it's still somewhat of a young group, the Rebels returned 12 players from a team that closed strong last winter. They beat Anoka in the Section 5AA quarterfinals and played top seed Mounds View tough before falling in the semis after placing 4th in the Northwest Suburban Conference. Things look good so far this season.
We've been working so hard knowing that we have to play Hopkins our first game. And I say we're the most conditioned we've ever been at the beginning of the season. I'm really excited to see what we're up for.
Champlin Park graduated a couple of top scorers, but they have enough returning scoring punch and strong defense to make them optimistic. Players have tasted some success, and now they want more.
Well, we're trying to beat the record of 16 wins, so that'd be pretty awesome. We almost beat it last year. We tied it, so if we could beat that, that'd be pretty good.
I think the kids come into the season expecting to have a tough schedule, expecting to be competitive, expecting to beat those top teams. It really doesn't matter to them anymore. I don't get the wow factor anymore when we look at the schedule and they see Eden Prairie on the schedule or Hopkins on the schedule.
The Rebels season opener is at 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon against Hopkins at Minnetonka Ice Arena. And that's a look at sports.
All right, thanks, John. We'll be right back. Well, now that we've had our first snowfall a full month earlier than last year, you may be itching to get out your skis. If you're looking for ski equipment or you want to swap out your old skis, Pioneer Midwest in Osseo is hosting its 9th annual ski swap on Saturday. Last year, the line at the door began forming at 6:30 in the morning. So if you want to have that first pick, you'd better plan to be there early. In Robbinsdale, there's a place where you can see Minnesota through the eyes of Minnesota artists.
In today's Weekend Showcase, we focus on the Robin Art Gallery and a show that's extremely Minnesota. Look closely at this collage by crystal artist Harriet Reese. You'll see it's strictly Minnesotan.
I do watercolor and collage, often collage, mixed media collage with social commentary. Some of my values are reflected in my collages.
Get up really close and you'll find well-known Minnesotans who have made a difference in politics, sports, and other parts of Minnesota life.
I was lucky enough to win the Best of Show at the very opening, the very first show.
That was 17 years ago. Since then, Harriet says the Extremely Minnesota exhibit continues to grow with more than 130 entries.
The show now has gotten statewide recognition, and I think it's far more competitive. When you look around, you will see a host of media. We have sculpture and painting, collage.
But one thing hasn't changed. It's still Minnesota artists creating scenes that are uniquely Minnesotan, from a summer in the woods to a rural bridge covered in snow. And something that could trick the eye. It looks like snow collecting on plants, but Minnesotans can tell you what it really is, a big pile of fluffy cottonwood seeds. Or this scene. If you love to swim in Minnesota lakes, you may recognize the view of a lake from under the water lilies.
Each year we get higher and higher calibers of artists, and it gets really high quality work.
Somebody will win a cash prize and Best of Show honor.
Our judge came in this year and said this was going to be one of the toughest jobs he's ever had. We had so many incredible artists.
The Extremely Minnesota Art Show is on now through mid-December at the Robin Gallery.
I love it.
You betcha.
Yeah, you betcha. That's right.
That's it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you back here on Monday. Weekend Show's coming up.